Okay, hello. My name is Luke Mell, and I've been fielding a bunch of questions about packraft rigging, and I wanted to just answer them all via video here rather than a bunch of emails. This is not at all the opinion of Alpaca or of Swiftwater Safety Institute, but I own both the baseball hats, so I have some level of legitimacy, both with SSI and with Alpaca. This is a 2015 Yak made by Alpaca. If you have a boat like this, it's going to come clean, so none of this rigging. These are my thigh straps that I installed aftermarket, my own backrest that I installed. And you can think of that clean boat as an end member. It's clean, it's simple, there's not going to be a lot of entrapment hazard, and that's really what we're evaluating when we modify the boats is, am I doing something to my boat that's potentially going to trap me when I don't want to be trapped in the water? And that's going to be like a loop of webbing or string that wraps around a wrist, a neck, and ankle. And so there's that clean boat end member, and then there would be a really messy boat that maybe has a bunch of webbing or straps or rope kind of floating around. Maybe it's just a throw rope that you're storing in your boat that's uncoiling itself at your feet. So that's a real messy end member, and the hazard there is entrapment. So let's talk about these perimeter lines initially. These tie-down loops all came with the boat, and so I've just tied a rope through those. There's a lot of debate, it's good debate, about whether or not this should be a single strand of rope like this, or whether these should all be tied down at the anchor points. And the discussion is basically that the advantage of this system is if I get caught up somewhere over here, I just have to cut the rope anywhere and the whole thing comes undone. The disadvantage of keeping this single strand of rope is that, say the boat deflates, I could pull this tight, right, and suck these 3 points all together, and I could end up with like a 3-foot bite of rope. And that bite of rope is an entrapment hazard. Again, get my wrist through, get my neck through. So there's no right or wrong, but it's kind of a calculated decision what you think is the best. I started having these tied together and I changed my mind, and now I've got just a single rope. I've got a knife right here on my vest. I know where it is. I'm confident I can get it out. Boom. This boat didn't come with these attachment points, so I put them on myself so that I could put that perimeter line on the back half of my boat. I intentionally am leaving this clean because in my experience getting back in the boat, when I did have a line there, I just kept catching it. And the big offender is the knife. So I'd be, say I'm trying to come in here, my knife snags on the PFD and that prevents me from getting back in the boat on a wet re-entry. This PFD is actually designed with a little sleeve to help prevent that, but you get the point. If you have a rope here, you're going to have more trouble getting back in your boat. So again, this is not a rule, but what's working best for me is to have this part, both side panels be clean. Another thing I'm doing here is I have a tow strap in the back. This is with the intention of being able to help somebody, victim, grab my boat in the water, kick, help me propel, we'll pull them to shore into an eddy or something. I've got this with big overkill heavy webbing, partly because it's bright and visible and I don't want them to pull on my mouth valve and I don't want them to pull on my zipper. And partly it's because this cord is a real pain in the butt to hold on to. It's so tight, it just cuts into your fingers. So there's a trade-off with what the diameter of cord you use here. I put a really lightweight cord on here because I'm often carrying this boat large distances. If that wasn't the case, I'd put a larger diameter rope on here, and that'd be easier to hold on to. Another feature you'll see on a lot of packrafts is a tail, so just attaching something here. The things to consider here is that if you put a knot at the end of your tail, that knot can get chalked up in rocks, so you don't really want a knot there. And I ended up removing this tail completely after a friend had it wrap around his arm a few times. So again, that entrapment hazard. Based on his experience, I said, nope, I don't need the tail. If I was going to put a tail on, I'd be inclined just to do like a bite with a strap like this, quick and simple. not that much length. This is actually the strap I use when I roll up the boat and store it, so I've got it there with me. It's really convenient to use that as a tail, but like I said again, that's another place I've changed. I used to have the tail, now I don't. I might have it again someday, no promises. As far as what's going on inside the boat, I put in these thigh straps. For a while, Alpaca was really uncomfortable having thigh straps in the boats, and the reasoning, I'm assuming, is that entrapment hazard, right? They don't want to provide a boat that's ready to go and that somebody could have trouble getting out of. I've never had that experience. I've always felt really comfortable getting out of the boat, a little too comfortable. Usually I'm out of the boat whether I want to be or not. But that was a personal decision, and I've got these in, again, clean solutions. I've got short tails on each of these attachment points so that there's nothing in here that could actually wrap around me. And then I went and practiced and straightened my legs, make sure I can get out of the boat, no problem. I put in 2 seats because I like being up higher in my boat. I put in a rigid back band. This was from an old kayak. Originally I had this attached with carabiners, as did most of my friends, and then one of them had the experience where it was a non-locking carabiner, caught onto his life vest, or maybe it was his dry suit, when he was trying to get back in the boat. So he's trying to do a wet re-entry and is flailing around, stuck attached to his boat in a way he doesn't want to be. So after that experience, we all got rid of those non-locking carabiners. So there aren't very many rules about rigging and packrafts or other water vessels, but that's one. If you've got something on your boat, carabiner on your boat, make sure it's locked, a locking carabiner that is locked. Carabiners don't play real well with water, with silt, and eventually this happens, and that's just asking for trouble. What have I forgot? That's all I can think of for now. So as you decide how to modify your boat, really you're just analyzing entrapment hazard. Am I doing anything to my boat that's going to risk keeping me in the boat when I don't want to be in it? No right or wrong on any of these decisions, but if you're thinking with that in mind, you'll probably make the right decisions. So, paddle safe, paddle fun. Happy to field other questions, and I hope this was helpful.